Namaste, everyone. Welcome to practice. Thank you for being here. Sit comfortably, let your sitting bones relax, let your leg bones settle, and as you arrive and settle in your seat, take a moment to just soften the skin and stay connected to your breath. This week, I've been sharing a concept from the philosophy, from the sutras, that is specifically connected or explaining something that it's understood as bringing suffering. So this concept is, the word is asmita, and asmita is usually translated as ego, or I like a different translation from a course that I'm studying, that I'm doing online, that calls it I amness. So this is the understanding that sometimes a lot of I amness can bring suffering in our life. So I'm going to read a little bit from an article, an old article that I found, that I think it's easy or clear to understand. So it says, ego or asmita happens when you identify too much with the parts of yourself that change. Everything from your mind to your body, appearance, or job title, instead of identifying with the quiet place within you that does not change. It is when you mistakenly believe on some level that how you look or feel or what you do for a living, or even how nice or beat up of a car you drive, has something to do with who you are, and that these things define you, instead of recognizing that your true self, who you are at your core, is unchanging. Asmita, or false identification, is common to everyone because our external qualities inevitably influence how we see ourselves. You may identify with your gender, your sexual preference, your ethnicity, or the style of yoga you practice. Perhaps your perception of yourself includes that you are tall, muscular, sensible, brunette, tattooed, compassionate, a parent, a yoga practitioner, and a gourmet cook. These qualities are a big part of how you see yourself and how your loved ones and friends see you, and appreciating them and enjoying them is an important part of the way you engage in the world. The challenge, and where the lesson of this sutra lies, is that while it is great to appreciate and value all of these aspects of yourself, if you identify too closely with the changeable aspects of yourself, the philosophy says that you set yourself up for disappointment and suffering. So the idea here is not to avoid those changes or deny them or push them away, but practice and carve a practice of compassion, of understanding, and even like let ourselves grieve or be with those moments when we feel sad or disappointed that our skin is changing, or there are things in our lives that are changing, and understanding that underneath that, below all of that, the true self, the core of who we are, our essence, will always still be permanent. So that's more or less the idea. And it also says in this article that the key of working with this sutra is practicing self-acceptance and giving ourselves time to create a relationship with ourselves where we nurture our own self by practicing compassion, by giving ourselves the things that we need, and by connecting, right, with ourselves, by cultivating feelings of gentleness and patience with ourselves. So this is the idea for this week. Let's let the palms rest on your lap and close your eyes if you didn't do yet. And take a moment as we drop into our center to feel supported, and bring your inner gaze down and away from the outside, moving it towards your heart. In that spiritual place of the heart, we sit and we have the opportunity to become still. Let the spine be long, elegant, and also relaxed. And give yourself a moment to perhaps find or visualize or remember a physical place or a feeling that you associate with feeling like your best self. And if it's perhaps a little hard to find a physical place or a memory, maybe you can just spot yourself under a tree you loved as a child, or a memory of playing a favorite game, or I don't know, maybe a memory of riding your bike, something that makes you feel like you're really in this place, that you're truly connected with yourself and you feel at your best. And see if you can connect with the feeling of who you are at your core, how you feel at your most authentic self. Once you feel connected to this place or this memory, remember that even though your body and circumstances may have changed, that same person of the memory is within you. And if there's a particular circumstance that is troubling you, try to cultivate feelings of compassion and friendliness towards yourself by imagining how a friend or a loved one might comfort you. Then invite your palms to come together and rub them against each other for a moment until you create heat in between the palms, just a few moments like that. And when you feel like you created that warmth in between your palms, bring them both to rest in front of your solar plexus or your heart center, connecting with the spiritual self, the light that it's never stopping to burn, to light up your physical body and also your whole world. Take a moment, if you choose to dedicate your practice to someone you cherish in your life, or to someone who may be in need of your yoga today. And then if you choose to join me, we'll bring the palms together in front of the heart in the prayer position to chant the Om sound one time. Inhaling deeply, then big exhale, then breathing in again. We connect head, hands, and heart, the three together. Then we release the palms. We lift the head and opening the eyes. Welcome again, everyone. Thank you for being here. Let's move to the mat. And we are going to do several things today with different props. So we are going to start by having our belts or a scarf if you don't have a belt, and making a loop like I'm showing. And we are going to come onto our mats. Don't worry, set it up. I'll wait. And once you have it, you're going to sit on your mat and put both your feet inside. So I'm wrapping myself on my belt, and then I'm going to put that belt right in between my knee and my hip. So it's going to be tight, right like in the middle of my quads and hamstrings. And I'm going to make it as tight as my legs go together. Now, if you have lower back pain or sensitivity going on or some stuff going on in your lumbars, then instead of having the legs together, you're going to make them more like hip distance apart and keep the belt a little looser, okay? So I have my belt there, it's tight. And then after I have that, I'm going to lie down on my mat and I'm going to make sure that that belt is tight for me so I can feel the action of my muscles pressing or breaking into my belt. So I'm going to have my quads pushing up and to the sides of my belt, and then I'm also going to be pressing with my hamstrings into the belt as well. So it really feels like I want to break into it, and you will feel activation in your legs right away. And then notice if your lower back is too arched and see if you can lengthen your lumbars and the sacrum into your mat to release a little bit more there and start activating the inner legs from your groins to your inner heels and push through the center of the heels and the base of your toes. So very active legs to start. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale. And on your next inhalation, send your arms up overhead. Grab opposite elbows and then push the elbows away from your body as you keep activating through the legs into that strap that you have. So we are pressing and feeling the muscles pushing up and sideways and down and creating that fire that is actually pumping blood into your lungs and your heart. So the legs, the quadriceps, they are related with the blood that moves into the heart. So we want to work on our legs so we keep our hearts healthy and pumping blood and oxygen there. So we are going to extend the elbows as much as we can. And then when you feel ready, with the arms as they are, just bring yourself with the torso and the head and the arms towards the right. So I'm like sliding on my mat to the right. My elbows are still down, and I'm going to just keep pressing evenly through the heels, pushing or breaking into the belt as I breathe into the left side of my body. And as you do that, perhaps you want to also activate your left nostril a little bit more, the same side that you are opening. And then we slowly move back towards the center. And we'll take it to the opposite side. So now I'm going to bring both my elbows, my torso, kind of like if I want to do like a banana shape towards the left, but my legs stay straight and I'm still breaking into my belt. I'm sending my right elbow up and back as much as I can. My arms are still connected to the floor, right? And then from there, I'm going to breathe into the right side. Trying to perhaps open up or activate the right nostril a little more. My legs are still super active, breaking into my belt. And then I'm coming back to center. This is like when we are standing in Tadasana, right? But we are doing Tadasana supine. Now I'm going to keep activating, pressing through the center of the heels, breaking into my belt and extend the arms overhead. So now my hands are parallel to each other, facing each other, and my fingernails are reaching away from my heels. And notice the length of the sides of your trunk, opening up, armpits, elbows, big inhalation here, trying to keep the lower back a little bit grounded instead of lifting too much in the lower back. And then release. Good, then we are going to bring the arms down and we are going to bend the knees so we can bring ourselves into the belt and take it out. And from here, that same belt, put it in your heels and push up towards the ceiling. Now I'm going to keep the hip distance apart for my heels and I'm going to hold the belt. And I'm going to make sure that the base of my pelvis is pressing down and I'm pushing through my heels. So we are again creating a lot of activation through the legs and from your groins to your inner heels, you're lengthening and pushing up. Now, even though we took the strap out of the quads, I want you to imagine that you still have it there and you're still breaking into that first place where we work with the belt. So we are again activating quads and hamstrings, inner and outer, breaking into the imaginary belt. Okay, one more breath. Good, and then bend the knees and bring them into your chest. And for the next thing, I'm going to add a support so I can support my legs. So we're going to use the belt again, and I'm putting a block, but it can be a pillow or a bolster or anything that you have, perhaps a couple of blocks. I'm going to just bring it close. Now what I'm going to do is to hook my belt on the outside of my right heel. So instead of putting the belt on top of my foot, I'm going from the side, as you can see, and I'm just going to hold there on that corner. So I'm really like creating more connection or the proprioception of the belt into the right side of my heel, okay? Then I'm going to extend the left leg. I'm going to push into the belt from that outer side in my right heel. And then I'm going to slowly start opening that right leg over to my support. So if the support needs to be higher, like I'm going to show, I'm going to put it there so I don't have to come all the way down. And I'm going to try and activate the outer side of my leg so I can press into that belt the way I have it, okay? My left leg is extended, I'm making it heavy, I'm pushing through the heel, and I'm breathing here as I'm trying to move my stomach from right to left. Taking a couple of breaths here. First, we are opening our base before we move more. Good, one last breath, lengthening through the inner and outer right leg and pressing the left thigh down. Then we slowly bring that right leg back. And now I'm going to move the belt over to the other side. So now I'm putting it in the inside of my right ankle, right? So it's not over, but it's on the side. And now with that, I'm just going to move a little bit because of space. But now we're going to activate the inner leg a little bit more, right? First I did the outer leg going out. Now we are going to bring the right leg to the left. But I'm going to take it to the left only like 10 inches. So it's going just a little bit. It's not going all the way. You can see my leg is pretty high. And I'm going to just keep it there by lengthening through the inner leg and pushing into my belt on the inside of the ankle, okay? If you want, with your right hand, you can bring your thumb into the right hip crease and push that right hip crease a little further down, okay? So that's an option if you want to create like a self-adjustment and it feels good to create more opening there. You may feel it in the IT band or the hamstring or the outer glute, okay? So we push into that belt and now see if you can keep sending that right hip down towards the floor. And if you can, keep pressing through the left heel, pressing the left thigh down. Then we return slowly, bend that right knee and extend the right leg next to the left. Take a deep breath in and deep breath out. Good. Let's go on to the second side. I'm going to switch so you can see it. So now I'm going to bring the belt to the outside of my left heel. I'm hooking it there. I'm trying to hold it. And then I'm going to extend the right leg and I'm going to make it heavy, okay? From there now I'm going to activate the outer side of that left leg. I'm going to open the leg over to the left and I'm going to use some kind of support there for the leg so I don't have to bring it all the way down. I want you to be able to keep your right hip grounded and that's why the support is important there. So anything that you can put will be helpful. And both inner and outer left leg are pushing away from the groin. And I'm trying to bring my abdomen from left to right. Take a few breaths. Push through your right heel at the base of your toes, lengthening the lumbars as much as possible. And then we come back towards the center. I'm going to switch that belt to the inside this time, and I'm holding with the other hand. Good. Once you have that, bring the leg 10 inches to the right. Keep the right leg straight, pushing towards the heel. And then you stay there and you'll feel perhaps more of the activation in both sides, inner and outer side of the leg. Imagine you're pushing that or breaking into the belt like we did in the very beginning. And if you want with your left thumb, you can bring it into the left hip crease and push that leg or the hip crease away, okay, towards the end of the mat. Breathing in and out. One more breath. Good. Then we slowly return. Bend that left knee. Extend the leg close to next to the right leg. Take a breath here. Good. And before we let go, we don't have the bell this time, but again, activate the legs like if you were breaking into your strap. Inhale again, arms overhead, lace the fingers and press your palms away from your head towards the end of your room. And just extend the sides and feel the sides lengthening. And I want you to imagine that your arms are starting where your belt was in the beginning. So from that place, you create length through the sides of the body and you push away with your palms, the base of your hands, so you activate your wrists, index fingers, base of your forefingers. Good. Then exhale and release. Bend your knees, roll over to one side, press up so you come towards the seat. And from here, we are going to leave the belt for a moment. We'll use the stuff later. We are going to cross our shins. Doesn't matter which one, we'll switch it after. And it doesn't matter also which hand you go with first. I'm going to start on my right. I'm going to put the fingers down and just inhale and stretch over. And then exhale and switch to the other side, opening up the sides a little bit more. Inhale, go one way. Exhale, come back. And then you open up again. One more, side to side. You can just press into your palm or fingertips. And then one more. Good. Now I'm going to inhale. For you guys, I'm going to mirror you. Inhale your right arm up. Exhale, bring that right hand to the left knee. Then we are going to inhale the left arm, front and up and back. And instead of bringing it to the floor, I'm going to keep it there behind me. You cannot see it because it's behind, but I'm even almost kind of like touching my wall. So I'm trying to bring that arm far behind me so I can open the chest towards the left. Draw the belly up, lengthen through the back of the skull without tensing the neck, and breathe in and out here for 2. It doesn't matter if you don't have a support for the hand, right? You just keep the arm extending back. Good, and then we're going to inhale and bring that back arm up and over until you touch the opposite knee. And we're going to let the torso drop over the legs. Take 2 breaths here, relax the head, and you can even say no and yes if you want to move your head a little. And then slowly keep the arms as they are, come back to a seat. So I have my left arm on top of the right one, and then I'm going to create the eagle arms. If this shape is too much for your neck or shoulders, you just put your hands on top of the shoulders and you do the same thing from here, okay? So now I'm going to inhale, lift the front spine and arch a little, and then with the exhale, I'm going to fold over the legs. And again, inhale, coming up, exhale and fold. One more, inhale, exhale. Inhaling, we return, and exhale, release. Good, now we are going to switch the cross. just the opposite leg of the one that you had. And now we go the other way with the whole sequence. So now I'm going to inhale the left arm up. Exhale, bring that left hand to your right knee. Then inhale, right arm, front, up, and back. And we twist over to the right. The left hand is pressing into the knee and then into the hand, so it helps you with the lift. And I'm trying to lift the front spine and bring the belly and the chest towards the right. I have the wall that is helping me do that, but you can just extend the arm behind you and then keep the chin off the chest, relax the shoulders, 2 breaths. Good, and then inhale, bring that right arm up and over until you touch your left knee, and we fold again for 2 breaths. Good, then slowly returning, the arms stay, the right one over the left one, so we switch sides and we bring the eagle arms again. Again, option to switch for the hands on top of the shoulders, and from here we inhale, lifting the front spine, exhaling, we fold. Again, inhale, lift up, exhale, inhaling, one more, exhale. We come back towards the neutral, inhaling, exhaling, release. Good, and cross your legs and shake them a little. Good, and from here, we are going to come back to our belt. So you're going to take it back and we are going to stand up. And this time we are going to take a similar shape to what we did when we were lying down, but I'm going to be standing and I'm going to, again, make my belt taut in between my thighs. So I'm again halfway between my hip and my knees. And I'm making it as tight as I can. And like I said, if not, you keep it hip distance apart. And from here, once you find your level of comfort for this belt there, I want you to spread the toes, press into the base of your toes, lift your toes so you can find a little bit more separation in between the toes, even if it's like a millimeter, and then lift through the inner arches, press through the center of your heels. Keep that activation, lifting from the inner arches into inner shins, inner knees, up into the inner groins. And from there, again, try to break into your belt with the quads, with the sides, and with the hamstrings on your back. We keep all of that, and from there, we are going to inhale, extend the arms up overhead, lace the fingers again, and press your palms up. Just a moment there, you can wiggle like I'm doing, the sides. And then after you do that, I want you to let go of the hands. I don't know if you can see it, but I separated my hands and they are parallel to each other. And I'm extending both arms up. And again, I want you to imagine that your arms are starting where your belt is. So from there, lift into the sides, lift into the armpit, lift into the elbows, all the way up to the fingernails. Deep inhalation here. And big exhale to release. Keep that belt as it is. Keep pressing into the base of your toes and the center of your heels, and take the Utkatasana chair pose. Now I have the belt that is helping me frame, right? That breakout that I'm doing into the strap. And I'm going to try and sit a little lower. Keep the weight on my heels. I'm even playing with lifting my toes. So I keep more of the base of the toes grounded, but not the toes, so they spread. And then I'm lifting my inner arches as much as I can. Go a little further down, lift the belly in and up into the chest. One more breath. And then inhale, come up. Exhale and release. Nice. I'm going to keep that belt where it is, and now I'm going to line up into my mat so we can come into the hands and knees. Keep that belt where it is if you can bear with it, And I'm going to go from there into downward facing dog. I'm going to put my hands a little bit wider than my shoulders. It's not a lot. I'm just spinning my hands out a touch so I have more of a grip in the base of my thumbs. Then I'm moving my knees a few inches behind my hips, pushing the mat away. I'm going to start sending my sacrum and my sitting bones up towards the ceiling. And I know that the belt won't let you spread your feet too much, right? So it's going to be maybe hip distance apart or maybe even a little less. And with that, it's okay. Bend the knees, push the mat away, and break into your belt with your legs. So now try to create a lot of activation there through the legs into your strap. And if you can, you pedal your feet one at a time, and you bring the heels down towards the floor. Good. Keep the head relaxed, the neck long. And then if you can, you bring both heels, the center of your heels down, and the inner heels towards the back of your mat. Once you have that, bring the base of your pelvis up, so the pelvic floor lifted, ribs in, firm your hip bones into one another, and relax the head. One more breath here. Try to create an external rotation in your upper arm bones, and then walk your hands back towards your feet. Keep pressing or breaking into the belt the way you are doing with your legs. Lift through the inner arches, relax the head. Good, and then bring your hands to your hips, lengthen the spine, roll the shoulders back, and come up to standing. Good, okay, we made it to standing. Now take your belt out. Good. And we are going to do another posture that is standing, and if you have something to hold on to, it can be super helpful. I'm going to use the wall to show you. You don't have to if you don't need it. I'm going to step onto my left foot, and I'm going to imagine that I have a tiny seed behind my right knee, and I want to squeeze it. And I'm going to hold that foot behind, and I'm going to keep squeezing into that little seed that I have behind my knee. And I'm activating my quad towards the back of my leg, and I'm trying to bring my sacrum down towards the floor. So those three actions are the most important. I'm squeezing into the back of the knee, like if I have a little seed there. Then I'm activating my quad back into the bones, and then I'm trying to bring the sacrum down towards the earth. Okay, breathing in here and out. Another breath. One last, long, steady, fluid breath. Accepting our bodies as they are, ever changing. We do our best with what we have and how we feel today. Good, switching sides. Now I'm going to stand onto my right foot. If you have the wall like me, you can use it for support. Now I'm going to put that tiny seed behind my left knee. I'm going to catch the foot. I'm going to press firmly into the back of the knee. And I'm going to activate that quad into my bones. And then I'm going to try and keep my sacrum moving down. When I do that action of bringing my coccyx down, you see how my knee goes a little further forward. That's because I still need to keep working on opening my hip flexors, which is part of the body that I have today. So it's all good, but don't go into this action of arching. You see how I'm exaggerating. But if I do that, yes, it looks like my leg is perfectly nice, but then my lower back is really suffering. So I want to lengthen the lumbars and the sacrum down, and I keep bringing my quad back into my bones, squeezing the back of the knee, and doing the best with what I have. Breathe in and out. 2 more breaths here. 1 more, relaxing the jawline. And then we slowly release and shake it a little. Nice. Now we are going to come back into our downward facing dog without using the belt. So go back into your mat. We are going to try and recreate the same actions that we did with the belt, but without it. So I'm going back to my mat, placing my hands down, moving my knees back, and lifting into downward facing dog from here. So possibly now your feet will be wider than what they were before with the belt, but imagine you still have it there and you're squeezing the kneecaps up into your bones to open up and to create that action of breaking into the belt with the quads and the hamstrings and lengthening through the heels into the back of your mat. Now then, once you're there, draw the pelvic floor up, the ribs in, relax the head, and keep that external rotation through the upper arm bones. Good. From here, if you want, you can bring your feet a little closer. We'll come towards plank pose. And then we go back to downward facing dog. Again, inhaling towards plank. Exhaling to downward facing dog. Again, inhale, draw the abdomen in, firm the hip bones in, ribs in, back to down dog. And we take one last one, inhaling towards the plank. Good, bring your knees down first if you need, or all the way down to the mat. Good, from here we'll bring the fingertips right outside your mat. Rolling the shoulders back, pressing to the tops of the feet, spreading the toes. We inhale into the cobra. Lift the sternum, telescope it towards the skies. Exhale. Bring your hands under the shoulders, tuck your toes, and we go up to downward facing dog. Good, inhaling here, and exhale. Then we inhale, we send the right leg up and back. And with the exhale, we'll bring the right foot forward and the left knee down. Good. From here, we come up. You can untuck your toes on the back if you want, or keep them as they are. Inhale, arms up overhead. Hook the thumbs, extend through the sides. Draw the sacrum down and the pelvic floor up. Keep the chest open. One more breath. And then exhale and release. We are going to tuck the back toes here so we can firm the legs into one another. And I'm going to lift the left knee off the mat and send the arms back. Draw the abdomen in and up. I'm bringing my torso leaning over, but my belly is trying to move away from that right thigh. Drop the right hip, bending the front knee. One more breath. And then bring the arms up into the crescent lunge. Inhaling here. Exhale. One more. And then we exhale, hands down, we go back to downward facing dog. Inhaling, second side, left leg up and back. Left foot comes forward, right knee comes down, and we return to the low lunge. Good. Inhaling, arms up overhead, hook opposite thumbs if you remember. Extend through the sides, draw the lower belly in and up, ribs down. One more breath. Exhaling, we release. Good, now I'm going to tuck my back toes. Turn on your inner thighs into one another. Firm those quads. And then we lift and we send the arms back, leaning over that left leg, left thigh. Send the left hip back, bend the left knee, draw the abdomen up. Tone that back thigh. Imagine you have the belt and you want to break into that belt. And then we come up, crescent, keep bending the front knee, tone the inner legs, draw the front spine up. One more breath. We exhale to downward facing dog. Inhaling, we take the plank. Exhale, come down. Always modify if you need, coming with your knees. Inhaling, cobra pose. Exhale, release. Tucking the toes, we go up, downward facing dog. Good, walk your hands towards your feet. Bring the hands into the hips. Press through the base of the toes, lift the inner arches, heels down, come up. Back to standing we go. Good, now I'm going to show you a forward fold that we are going to do with either a block, or I'm also going to show you an option with the blanket. So if you don't have a block, you're going to create a roll with your blanket like I'm doing, and you're going to use this, okay? The roll blanket, I'm gonna put it there. And if you have the block, and if you can make it happen with the block, maybe it happens with the block. What I'm going to do is to angle the block towards me, so you see it's like coming down towards me, and put the base of my toes into the block. So I'm holding, right, I'm pressing into the block with the base of my toes, so it stays in that angle that it's towards me, and then that's how I'm going to fold. It's going to create a lot of opening. Now, if you don't have a block or a block that you can grab your toes onto, you can use the roll and put the base of your toes into the roll, similar action, a little more softy, and you're going to fold here over the legs, okay? I'm going to show this one because I think it's a cool one, a little different. And I'm trying to press the base of my toes into that block, spreading the toes. I'm, of course, using my heels to ground. I feel all the opening there in the hamstrings. So I'm activating the quads a lot. And if you need to bend your knees, bend the knees. But if you can stay there, imagining that you're breaking into the belt again, you do that. Release the trunk, the head, the neck, and take a few breaths. Inner thighs moving back, the inseam of your pants towards the back of your mat. Let the neck be long. The contents of your brain drop down. 2 more breaths. Good, then slowly take that support out if you have the blocks, because it's hard to come up with them. And from there, put the hands on the hips and lengthen to come back up. Good, beautiful. So this roll or block, we are going to use it again for another posture, okay? So I'm going to use the block the same way I just showed you, but if you don't have it, like I said, you use the roll, okay? So I'm going to also have an extra support there. I'm going to use that block again, like I did before, only that I'm going to put my right foot on it, and it's the base of my toes. And I'm going to send the left leg back, and it's turned in, like when we do the warrior one, that we bend the front knee and the back foot is turned in. So that's what I'm going to do, but this time on the front, I have that angled block, so the base of my toes are there, and I'm pushing into the center of my heel. If for this you need extra support, you may need like a couple of other blocks or books or something to hold on to, okay? From here, I'm going to push the base of my toes into the block, right? I keep it in that angle. I'm going to press into the outer edge of my back foot. Both legs are extended. And now what I'm going to try and do is to extend the spine and move my heart away from my belly. So I'm lengthening the heart away from the belly, and I'm sending my right hip back to the wall that I have behind. Just staying here, I'm not folding yet. Inhale, lengthen, bring the heart forward, move it away from the belly, hips back, right hip back, the left one comes a little forward, and see if you can lift the inner left arch. For the ones who are okay with keeping the heart away from the belly and lengthening the front spine, you can come a little further down and fold. If this is too much on your right hamstring, bend the front knee like I'm showing. You can bend the knee and then re-extend a little, okay? So you play with bending and re-extending. And we stay there for a couple more breaths. Good, then slowly come up, take that block out so you can lift up, and we switch sides. Good, shake a little, and we come on to the second side. Now I'm going to put my right leg back like if I'm coming into the warrior one, right, with the toes pointing out to the side, the heel is in, and I'm going to come back again into my block, angled in, so I can put the base of my toes, and I'm pressing through the center of my heel, okay? Now from there, if you need extra props there for the hands, please put them. And I'm going to send my left hip back, press into the outer edge of my back foot so I can lift the inner arch. And now I'm going to try and move my heart away from my belly. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen there. Send the left hip back, push into the outer edge of that back foot, and stay there for a couple of breaths. Press into that block with the base of your toes. That will fire your hamstrings and the quad. One more breath. And remember, you can micro bend or bend the left knee if you need at any point. And if you feel like you can keep the length of the spine and move over that left leg, do so. Again, you can micro bend the knee and then re-extend. Do that a few times if you need. Good, last breath. And then slowly take that block out. And from there, move the back foot forward, put your hands on your hips, and slowly come up. Good, awesome. I don't have any time left to do more things that I wanted. But from here, what we are going to do is, if you have a bolster or a pillow, we are going to use it, okay? So I'm going to put it long so I can use it as support behind me. And then if you need, you're going to use a block under your sitting bones so your heels are out to the sides, okay? We are going to do this shape that it's called the Virasana shape, okay? So from here, if this is too much for you, you can do only one at a time. So you keep one leg bent and one leg extended, or you just do the Baddha Konasana, so the soles of the feet together and the knees wide, okay? From here, what I'm going to do is to keep a little bit of space in between my sitting bones and the bolster, and then I'm going to start coming towards it. If you have the block, it's going to be a little bit more challenging to come to the bolster or the pillow because they are far. For me, I don't need this support, so I can come a little closer. Like I said, there's a little bit of space between my lower back and the pillow, and then I'm going to come back into the support. With one leg at the time, it can be a good way to do it because both, it could be a little bit too much. And you want to lengthen your lumbars here as you come into the rest. And we also try to keep the feet straight back, okay? So see if this can be for you. If not, you put the soles of the feet together, the knees wide like the butterfly shape, and you recline into pillows or blankets or stuff that you have at home, okay? A few breaths here. This is a really good way to fire our quads, open the hip flexors, move into the psoas muscle, opening up the connections with the lower back, and with this pumping blood into our hearts. And today we are working with the quads a lot, moving into the heart because that's the place where we want to always come back to and remember that that's the place that doesn't change, where our true self is, unchanged, unaffected by the changes in our bodies, in our minds, in our circumstances, in the things we have, in our titles. From all of that, our essence stays always the same, rooted in love, self-acceptance, compassion, patience, and self-nurturing. Then we will slowly use our arms or forearms or hands to press up. And from this shape, usually the best way, if you were in this shape like me, the best way to undo this is by coming into a downward facing dog. So for one time, we'll re-extend the legs, so we activate them again and we stretch them. So pedal your feet and push through the hands, bring the pelvic floor up. Good, and then we'll come back down onto our mats, extending the legs, feet in front. Let me just move closer. Good. And now from here, we are going to put the soles of the feet into the mat and we sit tall. Just, it's like a transition to activate our core a little bit more. Arms parallel to the floor. Draw the abdomen in and slowly start coming down onto your mat. Slow, 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 until you release. Beautiful. From here, bring the right foot on top of the left thigh. Bring both knees into your chest. Thread your right hand inside the legs. And stay here for 2 breaths. We start slowly moving towards rest and stillness. So we start releasing the back of the skull. Softening the face. Good, and then slowly bring the left foot down. Put the right leg over the left one. So that same leg, I'm crossing it over. And then I'm going to open my arms cactus shape or out to the side like a T letter if you have the space. Both legs move to the left, chin to the right. We'll keep 3 breaths here. Stay there for 3 breaths. Good. Releasing with weight, the body down without forcing. Good, and then slowly returning back to center and wrap your right leg. Good. And then slowly we'll switch sides. So we'll put the left foot on top of the right thigh. Number 4 shape first. The left foot is active, and then thread your left arm inside and you bring your knees towards the chest. Stay there for a moment. Good, then we'll reset, right foot down, bring that left leg over the right one so the thighs are together, open the arms to the sides. If you want to shift your hips to the left, then you let both legs drop to the right, chin to the left. Good, and then slowly returning and wrap the legs. Good, option to take one of your blocks and use it as a support for a supported bridge pose before we end, so we create also a little bit of more opening in the chest. So feet down, block under the sacrum. It can be any height, flat, medium, or taller, higher. And then just widen the chest by sending the shoulders down. opening through the heart center. Take 3 breaths or 4 here. I'm going a little fast so we can take Shavasana. One more breath. Good, and then slowly lifting the pelvis, taking the prop out, and resetting your body down. Good. If you want to take your legs up a wall, if you have a wall, you can do that. If you prefer to just bring the knees to the chest and wiggle a little bit before taking Shavasana, do so. Choose the last movements and wiggling motions that you need before we come to rest. And as usual, as we slowly move towards corpse pose, we'll give ourselves an opportunity to reset, integrate the whole practice, and release control. As you take the next few breathing cycles, use your out breath to drop a little deeper, to release any attachments to your body, to any thoughts, to situations, fear, any emotions. Let them just drop like a big bag of water falling and spreading, passing it on to the earth and letting the earth hold those things. The key to self-acceptance is to connect with the unchanging self. The ability to discern what is your true self from what is not, to connect with that true authentic self, and to act from that quiet knowing place is the key to feeling better as a result of your yoga practice.